Buddhism offers profound wisdom that transcends time, teaching us how to find peace in the chaos of modern life. The phrase, "just keep it in your pocket," symbolizes carrying the core teachings of Buddhism: impermanence, mindfulness, compassion, and non-attachment, as tools to navigate life's challenges. In this article, we'll explore how embracing these teachings can lead to lasting peace, joy, and emotional resilience for years to come. Let's dive into the powerful wisdom that can transform your life today and for the next 50 years. Next, we will explore concepts like impermanence, mindfulness, and the middle path, showing how they can guide us toward long-term happiness. Understanding the concept of impermanence, building on the timeless wisdom of Buddhism, we now delve deeper into one of its most fundamental teachings, anicca, the concept of impermanence. Life, as we know it, is in a constant state of flux. From the changing seasons to our own emotions, nothing stays the same. The beauty of accepting this truth is that it allows us to live fully in the present moment, without clinging to the past or fearing the future. Take the story of Sarah, a woman in her 30s, who spent much of her life holding on to the idea that everything, including her happiness, needed to be permanent. She found herself stuck in the past, replaying old relationships and holding on to memories that no longer served her. It wasn't until she encountered Buddhist teachings that she began to understand the true meaning of anicca, the impermanence of all things. She learned that life's fleeting nature was not something to fear, but something to embrace. Sarah's journey began with letting go of the notion that happiness is a fixed state. She started to realize that emotions, situations, and even people come and go, just like the waves of the ocean. Rather than resist the ebb and flow of life, Sarah learned to surf those waves. By accepting that change is inevitable, she found a new sense of peace in allowing things to come and go without attachment. Impermanence is a liberating concept. When we accept that everything is temporary, good or bad, we free ourselves from the anxiety of trying to control what is beyond our reach. Think of it like holding a beautiful flower in your hands. If you cling to it too tightly, you risk crushing it, but if you simply appreciate its beauty and allow it to bloom in its own time, you can enjoy it without fear of its inevitable wilting. When we apply this concept to our lives, we gain a powerful perspective. We stop trying to make everything permanent and instead focus on what we can control, our reactions to life's changes. We learn to savor the joyful moments without fearing that they will end, and we face difficult times with resilience, knowing that they too will eventually pass. Sarah's newfound understanding of impermanence not only gave her freedom from the past but also brought a deep sense of peace. She could now fully experience each moment, appreciating both the highs and the lows, without being consumed by either. Her life became richer and more fulfilling because she learned that change is not an enemy to be fought, but a natural part of the dance of existence. By embracing impermanence, we can find balance in the ever-changing world around us. The teachings of Buddhism remind us that nothing lasts forever, and it's precisely this truth that allows us to find true happiness, knowing that life's inevitable changes are part of the beautiful, ever-evolving journey. The power of mindfulness in everyday life, building on the Buddhist understanding of impermanence. We now explore how mindfulness can be a transformative tool in our daily lives. Mindfulness, at its core, is the practice of being fully present in each moment, paying attention to our thoughts, feelings, and surroundings without judgment. It's about embracing life as it is, rather than getting lost in the past or worrying about the future. In a world that constantly pulls us in different directions, mindfulness is a way to anchor ourselves in the here and now. Let's look at Mark, a man who spent years feeling overwhelmed by the demands of work and family. His mind was constantly racing, juggling tasks and worrying about what was coming next. He was living on autopilot, rarely taking a moment to appreciate the present. One day, after attending a mindfulness workshop, Mark began to understand how being present could change everything. He started small, taking just 5 minutes a day to sit quietly, breathe deeply, and focus on the sensations of the present moment. This simple practice started to shift his entire perspective. Mark began to notice things he had never paid attention to before. The sound of birds outside his window, the warmth of the sun on his skin, and the simple joy of a cup of coffee in the morning became moments of mindfulness that brought him peace. He learned that mindfulness isn't about eliminating stress or solving problems instantly, but rather about being present with whatever is happening without letting it consume him. As Mark practiced mindfulness, he found that it began to reduce his anxiety and improve his relationships. Instead of reacting impulsively to stressful situations, he learned to pause, breathe, and choose how he wanted to respond. This shift wasn't instant, but over time, he noticed that he was less reactive and more thoughtful in his interactions with others. He felt calmer, more centered, and more in control of his emotions. The beauty of mindfulness lies in its simplicity. It's not a lofty concept or a distant goal. It's something we can practice right now, in our daily lives. Whether it's focusing on your breath during a stressful moment, fully engaging with a conversation, or simply appreciating the beauty of a sunset, mindfulness helps us live with greater awareness and intention. In Buddhist teachings, mindfulness is the key to cultivating peace and clarity. When we are mindful, we aren't swept away by our emotions or the chaos of life. Instead, we are grounded in the present moment, able to observe our thoughts and feelings without judgment. This ability to be fully present in each moment opens the door to a deeper sense of joy and fulfillment. Mark's experience is a reminder that mindfulness isn't about perfection. It's about being kind to ourselves, accepting life as it is, and embracing each moment with presence and awareness. By practicing mindfulness, we create space for peace in our busy lives, allowing us to respond with calm and clarity, no matter what comes our way. Through this practice, we unlock the power of the present moment, bringing us closer to the inner peace that Buddhism promises. The middle path, balancing desires and detachment building on the foundation of mindfulness, we now dive into another key Buddhist teaching, the middle path. This concept encourages us to find a harmonious balance between two extremes, excessive indulgence and harsh denial. The middle path teaches that true peace and happiness lie in moderation, where we can enjoy life's pleasures without being controlled by them. It is about understanding that both attachment and aversion can create suffering, and that balance is the key to freedom. Take the story of Emma, a woman who struggled with an all-or-nothing approach to life. She often found herself caught between indulgence and self-discipline. On one hand, she would overindulge in comfort foods and binge-watching TV shows, seeking temporary pleasure. On the other hand, she would swing to the opposite extreme, denying herself any enjoyment and pushing herself too hard to achieve success. This constant back and forth left her feeling drained, unfulfilled, and anxious. It wasn't until Emma encountered the teachings of the middle path that she began to understand the importance of balance. She realized that she didn't have to choose between extremes. By embracing moderation, Emma started making mindful choices that aligned with her values and long-term well-being. Instead of depriving herself or overindulging, she learned to enjoy her favorite foods in moderation, without guilt or excess. She also found space for relaxation, without letting it take over her life. Emma's journey with the middle path was not about perfection, but about finding a sustainable balance that honored both her needs and desires. She stopped seeking fleeting pleasures and began investing in long-term happiness by creating a life that felt peaceful and fulfilling. The middle path allowed her to be present in the moment, fully engaged in life's joys and challenges, without being ruled by them. She no longer felt trapped in a cycle of extremes. Instead, she found peace in moderation. The middle path isn't just about balancing physical indulgence. It's about cultivating balance in all areas of life. It applies to our emotions, our relationships, and even our thoughts. By avoiding the extremes of clinging and aversion, we can approach life with greater wisdom and clarity. We stop reacting impulsively and begin to make choices that align with our deepest values, leading to a more harmonious existence. Emma's story illustrates how embracing the middle path can bring peace to our chaotic lives. In today's world, where everything is often presented in extremes, either indulge or restrict, work hard or rest endlessly, Buddhism teaches us that true happiness lies in the balance between them. The middle path encourages us to enjoy life fully, without becoming attached to outcomes, and to find peace by letting go of excess, whether it's material possessions, emotions, or desires. By adopting the middle path, we can create a life that feels balanced and grounded, where we are not overwhelmed by the pursuit of pleasure or success, but instead find contentment in simply being. This balanced approach to life is the key to lasting happiness, and it's one of the greatest gifts that Buddhist teachings offer. Cultivating compassion for yourself and others building upon the wisdom of the middle path, we now turn to the practice of cultivating compassion, a cornerstone of Buddhist teachings. While the middle path encourages balance in all areas of life, compassion calls us to embrace kindness, both toward others and ourselves. This simple yet profound practice can transform how we experience the world, helping us build deeper connections and foster a sense of peace and understanding. Consider the story of David, a successful entrepreneur who had always been focused on achieving his goals. He was driven by ambition, and while he was kind to his friends and family, he often overlooked his own needs and emotions. He pushed himself relentlessly, believing that success was the key to happiness. But despite his achievements, David felt an underlying emptiness. He realized that his focus on external accomplishments had made him neglect the most important person, himself. One evening, David stumbled upon a Buddhist meditation about compassion, and it sparked something within him. The meditation taught that true compassion isn't just about offering kindness to others, but also about nurturing a loving relationship with yourself. David decided to take the first step towards self-compassion. He began by taking time each day to reflect on his feelings without judgment. Rather than berating himself for his shortcomings, he started to treat himself with the same kindness and understanding he offered to others. This shift in perspective had a profound impact on David. He began to feel more connected to himself and less driven by the need for external validation. He realized that his worth wasn't defined by his achievements, and that true happiness came from accepting himself, flaws and all. By practicing self-compassion, David found inner peace and a renewed sense of purpose. As David's relationship with himself deepened, so did his ability to show compassion to others. He became more present in his interactions, listening with empathy and offering support without judgment. His relationships flourished, and he felt more connected to the world around him. Compassion, both inward and outward, allowed him to experience life with a heart open to giving and receiving love. In Buddhism, compassion is not just an emotion, it's an action. It's about responding to the suffering of others with empathy and a willingness to help, whether through kind words, acts of service, or simply offering a listening ear. But it also involves recognizing that we, too, are deserving of love and care. When we cultivate compassion for ourselves, we open the door to healing and growth. We stop being our harshest critics and start becoming our own greatest supporters. The beauty of compassion lies in its ability to ripple out into every area of our lives. By showing kindness to ourselves and others, we create a more loving, connected world. It doesn't require grand gestures. Often, it's the small acts of compassion that make the biggest difference. Whether it's offering a smile, giving someone your time, or simply being kind to yourself, these acts have the power to transform not just our relationships, but our entire way of being. David's story reminds us that compassion is a transformative force, one that starts from within and radiates outward. By embracing self-compassion and extending it to others, we can live a life filled with more joy, understanding, and connection. In a world that often feels divided and disconnected, compassion is the key to creating a more peaceful and harmonious existence. The importance of non-attachment and letting go. Building on the power of compassion, we now turn to one of the most liberating teachings in Buddhism, non-attachment. While compassion encourages us to embrace love for ourselves and others, non-attachment helps us release the things, people, and outcomes that hold us in a constant state of desire or fear. It's not about renouncing everything, but about recognizing that true freedom comes when we no longer cling to what is fleeting. Letting go opens the door to peace and joy, allowing us to fully experience life without the weight of attachment. Take the story of Anna, a woman who, for many years, felt bound by her possessions and relationships. Anna had always placed her worth in her career, her friends, and even her possessions. Every achievement felt like a milestone, but it also came with a sense of pressure to hold on to it. She feared that if she let go of anything, even temporarily, she would lose her identity. It wasn't until she faced a personal crisis, losing a job she had worked so hard to achieve, that she encountered the transformative power of non-attachment. During this challenging time, Anna decided to explore Buddhist teachings in an attempt to find peace amidst her turmoil. It was then that she stumbled upon the concept of non-attachment. For the first time, she realized that her attachment to her job, possessions, and even the expectations of others was the source of her suffering. Holding on so tightly to these things had created an illusion of control, and when they were taken away, she felt lost. The journey of letting go was not easy for Anna. She started by practicing small acts of release, such as letting go of old clothes that no longer served her, and gradually, she began applying the same approach to her emotions and relationships. Instead of clinging to past hurts or future worries, she learned to accept things as they were in the present moment. She embraced the idea that nothing in life is permanent, and that it was okay to let go of what no longer aligned with her true self. This practice of non-attachment didn't mean that Anna stopped caring about her career or relationships, but rather, she began to invest her energy in ways that were healthy and freeing. She found that when she let go of the need for control, life unfolded in ways that were more meaningful and fulfilling. Instead of clinging to the past or obsessing about the future, Anna was able to fully immerse herself in the present. She realized that attachment creates suffering because it's rooted in fear. Fear of losing something, fear of not being enough, or fear of change. By letting go, Anna freed herself from that fear, and in doing so, she found a deep sense of peace. Non-attachment, as taught in Buddhism, is not about being indifferent or cold-hearted. It's about understanding that everything is temporary, and that true freedom comes from not holding on too tightly to any one thing. It's about creating space for life to flow without the burden of expectations and attachments. Whether it's a job, a relationship, or a material possession, letting go frees us to live more fully and authentically. Anna's story is a testament to the power of non-attachment. Through her journey of letting go, she learned that freedom is not about having less, but about being able to live more deeply and more meaningfully. By practicing non-attachment, we can all create a life that is lighter, more peaceful, and aligned with the present moment. When we release our hold on what we cannot control, we allow ourselves to embrace what truly matters: peace, joy, and freedom. Embracing impermanence. Finding peace in the flow of life, building on the transformative practice of non-attachment, we now explore one of the most profound teachings in Buddhism: the acceptance of impermanence. The idea that everything is temporary can be both a source of fear and a deep well of liberation. Once we let go of our attachments, we are free to embrace life as it unfolds, with all its changes and uncertainties. This acceptance of impermanence is not a resignation to life's unpredictability, but a celebration of its ever-changing nature. By embracing change, we open ourselves to the beauty of the present moment. Take the story of Sarah, who spent much of her life resisting change. From childhood, she had clung to the idea of stability, whether it was a particular job, a relationship, or a place she called home. Every time something changed, she felt a sense of loss, as if she were being torn away from something precious. However, when she lost her mother to illness, Sarah was confronted with the ultimate form of impermanence. This profound loss shook her to the core, but it also opened her eyes to the transient nature of life. In the midst of her grief, Sarah turned to Buddhism for guidance. It was here that she learned about the teaching of impermanence, or anicca. Sarah began to understand that everything in life is in constant flux: people, emotions, and even the world around us. She realized that resisting change only caused her more suffering. Instead of clinging to what had been, she started to embrace the changes that came her way, learning to flow with them rather than fight against them. This new perspective didn't mean that Sarah stopped grieving the loss of her mother. Instead, it allowed her to grieve with acceptance, knowing that life is a process of constant change. She realized that even the pain of loss was a part of life's impermanent nature, something that would eventually evolve and transform. Sarah began to appreciate the fleeting moments of beauty and joy in her life, understanding that they, too, were impermanent. The sunsets she once took for granted, the laughter shared with friends, and even the quiet moments alone, all were precious, not because they lasted forever, but because they existed at all. Embracing impermanence taught Sarah to live more fully in the present. Rather than holding on to past experiences or fearing the future, she learned to appreciate the gift of the now. She discovered that life, in all its unpredictability, is something to be celebrated rather than feared. By letting go of the desire for permanence, Sarah found peace in knowing that nothing is fixed or static. Each moment, whether joyful or painful, is part of a larger flow of life. The teaching of impermanence is one of the most liberating aspects of Buddhism. It frees us from the illusion that we can control everything and invites us to experience life as it is. By embracing impermanence, we can live more deeply, letting go of the need for things to stay the same, and instead, flow with the rhythms of life. In the end, it is the awareness of impermanence that allows us to appreciate life's fleeting beauty and find peace amidst change. Sarah's journey reminds us that impermanence is not a source of anxiety, but a door to freedom. When we learn to embrace life's constant ebb and flow, we no longer fear what will come. Instead, we find ourselves living with a sense of peace, knowing that all things are temporary and that every moment, however brief, is a gift to be treasured. If you found this video helpful or inspiring, please make sure to like and subscribe. Your support means the world to us. Comment below with your thoughts, questions, or personal experiences related to today's topic. We love hearing from you and engaging with our amazing community. Speech Balloon Sparkles, don't forget to check out our other videos where we dive even deeper into powerful teachings and life-changing insights. Join us on this journey. Together, we can grow, learn, and embrace the beauty of life. Stay tuned for more. Glowing Star.